Hey, howdy, friends. I'm with a special guest today, James Emmons. Uh, he has a YouTube page and a Facebook group. It's his Facebook group is called
Southeast Heritage Outdoors.
Southeast Heritage Outdoors, and his YouTube page is Florida Outdoor Sportsman. He does a lot of hunting. He's getting ready to do that. He does a lot of fishing. Uh, so, Ted, do you have any questions for him or anything? Or
I do not. I do not right
okay,
this second. Do you want me to? Uh, do you want me to just start it off? I mean, I don't. I can start right now if that's what you want to do. Or I didn't know if you wanted to wait till people started coming in. If you just wanted to give him a little bit of a background of himself, or
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, we can do
okay.
that. Yeah, just if you don't mind sharing your age and how long you've been hunting and fishing, and uh, if you also partake in camping or any other type of like repelling or anything
Oh
crazy.
yeah. Well, like I said, my name is James Emmons. I'm 36 years old. I've been hunting this area. I think I started hunting with my grandpa when I was around. He started taking me out hunting and fishing when about 3, 4 years old, and been doing it ever since.
Okay,
Um, uh, Mostly on this river here, Scambia River, which is behind us back here.
okay,
And but we've, I, you know, with him, I fished here, up in Alabama on Tensas, Alabama River, Tom Bigby. And then as I got older and got my driver's license, was able to drive, I started venturing off to Blackwater, Yellow River, Choctawhatchee, um, and I went for the first time back in May, I think it was this year, down in South Florida. Went peacock bass
oh
fishing,
yeah, a lot
and
of the canals hold a lot of those
and
peacock bass.
I can't remember the lake that we went to.
Lake Trapper.
It was down below Okeechobee. I cannot think of the name of it right off the top of my
There's a
head,
ton of lakes down
but it was a big um, peacock bass lake, and it had clown knife fish in it, and it had some Oscars and different stuff. And I ended up catching an Oscar, and we caught probably around 10 peacocks,
there. Okay,
and which we was using live bait because my buddy wanted me to get on some. He
okay,
wanted to make sure I got on some. I told him, I said, next time we come down here, I want to get on them with artificial.
nice.
And but I caught one.
Probably you're probably in Collier County.
I think
It's a
so.
pretty big area, and it goes into the Everglades in that area, and that's where a lot of them migrate from the east coast of Florida through the canals, and a lot of people just bring them over and release them.
Yeah.
So they're really starting to be more prevalent on the west coast.
And I think next time we go down there, we're gonna fish for the Everglades and hit the canals.
Okay.
And 'cause that's kind of what I wanted to do then, but he was just trying to put me on fish. So
Gotcha.
next time it'll be a little more of a
Let,
challenge.
let me ask you a question. Something I've been thinking about, and I don't want to forget the question because, at my old age, I tend to do that. How many people are in your Facebook group right now? Approximately
Um, I've got a little over 3,000 in it right now.
3,000. So somebody like Ted, he lives in Pennsylvania, but he visits Florida often too, fishing and doing outdoor adventures with his family.
Yeah.
Could somebody like him join your group?
Oh yeah, it's open for anybody.
Okay, it doesn't have to be just from
I
the
mean,
southeast. Or,
no, it doesn't have to be. I mean, it's based around the southeast,
okay,
but for anybody that wants to visit it, somebody just wants to, maybe they're going to move down here and they want to get information, or they come down here to fish and they're trying to get a report or something like that. It's still growing. It's still kind of in its infancy, I would say, but it's growing. We're getting more people into it. It's
Cool.
starting to venture out of Florida, and more people out of the state are starting to come into it. But, oh yeah, I'm open for anybody to
that's
get
cool
into
because
it.
I didn't know that. I thought maybe it was just people from the southeast. I figured you'd probably say yes to somebody like Ted who comes here periodically, sometimes a year or whatever.
It's a good it's an actual good resource to join those groups for other, like in Florida and stuff, because I look into those groups to see what's going on, what they're doing, so what I could do down there, or message the person that you're interested in doing what he's doing down there, and and you can meet people that way, and that actually will help you when you're
Right.
going on an adventure doing something, like I talk to James about coming down and doing some things, because I go down and I fish Okeechobee with John, and then we were at where was it at? I'm trying to think here. Port St. Lucie. We were down there, and I was looking for like a guide or something to go out for dolphin, for stuff like that. And so yeah, it's good to have a resource and groups that are in different states and things, especially where you're going to go visit and do stuff. So that's awesome.
And we've had people come on there, asking about guides, and I got a few guides that I know are just people that join the group, and they can come in and chime in and say, hey, we can talk something out, or somebody go in there and say, hey, this guide service, I've used him a few times, and he's real good. So I want to give information about like that.
That's good. I just want to clarify something. Not really clarify, but I guess accent the point. The group used to be called Florida Outdoor Sportsman, correct?
It did.
And you wanted to be more diversified to accept more range of people like Ted and other people, right? So how long has the name change been in effect?
The name change started probably about 5 or 6 months ago.
Okay.
No, okay.
And it actually happened because my group actually got hacked, and I didn't think I was going to be able to get it back. And so we was coming up with ways to come up with another group, and I ended up getting it back, and I was like, you know what, I like the idea, so I just changed it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just took Florida Outdoor Sportsman, and now that's my personal page.
Nice.
And I post a bunch of stuff, bow videos, hunting videos, and stuff on my personal.
Is your page monetized, James?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I didn't know if you were monetized or not on Facebook.
I'm hoping so one day, but it's not quite there yet.
You're talking about the YouTube page?
No. I get paid for Facebook too. I do YouTube and Facebook. So right now I'm monetized, but I'm only in my reels on Facebook. Like you can do reels, and you'll get income from that. You have to have like 10,000 to be monetized for videos. Like I still put my hunting videos on there because I want to get a following. I think I'm at about 1,600 right now on that. But I do get paid for reels. You put reels in there, and for as many views as you get, it's like a YouTube thing. For as many views, you get money for it. I'm not going to go buy a place in Florida on it, but it gives you a little bit of incentive to do more and stuff like that, and hopefully grow and get bigger. Like I don't think I'm ever going to get enormous, but I just like to consistently grow. And I'm sure James likes to consistently grow. It ain't like he's making a living off of his Facebook and stuff like that, but it's just something neat and gets you something to strive for to do. And,
it's his passion. It's his passion.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about,
Yeah.
And
that's
like
I've
always heard, if you're ever going to go into business or anything like that, just follow your passion in some form or fashion. So,
yeah.
Oh boy, there was something I was going to say there, and I cut you off and I forgot.
I apologize for cutting you off if I did that.
No, I cut you off.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff for James too. A bunch of hunting questions.
Okay. Now I know what I was going to ask. Don't feel pressured, but I know you do a lot of sponsorships and stuff like that for product reviews. Is there anything you could throw his way or anything that
Yeah, I mean, I have. I don't know how he is with. He's a hunter, so James, I don't know how you are with your cell cameras, your cell cams and stuff like that. I don't know if you have a company you're working with or anything.
No, I use muddy cameras. I just went to Academy and bought them.
Okay, because there's I have right now. I'm working with Cam Park, and they have a View Peak line of cameras.
Okay.
And I've had the muddy cameras, I've had wildlife game cameras, and they're all great cameras. I mean, I have no problem with it. But being a content creator, those bigger companies don't want to look at somebody small like me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they don't want to go muddy or Wild Game Innovations. They're not going to sponsor me because I have 4,000 subscribers. I'm small.
Right.
And that's okay. I get all that. I get the business end of that. But there's a lot of those smaller companies that are coming up and they want to make a name for themselves. So I was targeting those people, and I have a media kit that I would send to them. And it's just all my information, my videos, my social media. It's like a resume for social media, basically. So I send that to the companies and stuff. And you have a YouTube channel, James?
I do.
Okay, so and I'll want that YouTube channel because I will definitely subscribe to you as well. But
Okay.
and I can tag you in on some stuff, and maybe we could work together in the future on some things. But
Yeah.
I use Cam Park right now. Cam Park is a big company. They have like home cameras and video cameras, surveillance cameras for your house and stuff. But they also have a deer cameras too. Trail cameras aligned to
Okay.
that, and they're called Vu Peak. Well, I like them because they have solar panel, like they have some with solar panels, some without, but I really like their solar panels because I keep my cameras out in the woods a long time, and I don't like to go every week and change batteries and change cards. I like to keep them out there without the human intrusion going in and out. So I know that they'll last for a month, 2 months, 3 months. I have a camera down my camp right now that has been out since last hunting season, January, when we started feeding them in our deer management program, and it's still there today, full 100% battery life, so I don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
But the only thing it stinks is you go through about 10 million pictures and try to find something. It's good to go down every month to get them, to break them down instead of letting them go for a couple months, because then you have a ton of pictures and it takes you hours to go through them. You know what I mean? So yeah, we could talk about that. Maybe I could talk to Cam Park, get you onto some of those or something.
Okay.
Whatever you're willing to do. And then I advertise. I have an affiliate with them. I make a percentage. If say you would buy a camera off me today, I would make like 3% on it or something like that.
Okay.
And it's in my description of my videos. I put them, like all my stuff in my YouTube channel, I put in my description. So I have like affiliate links and partners, and I have share codes. So like if you buy this, you use my code, you get 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever it is, you get it off of that product. So there's a bunch of stuff that there's a bunch of companies that I'm working with right now, and it's almost getting to be too much where I'm not really doing more unless bigger companies ask me to do something. And I try to weed them out as well, because you get too many of them and then they're not really serious about you. They're given like, I've seen it happen, and I don't want to give any names of companies, but like they'll give me products to review and want to work with me, but then they give 20 or 30 other channels the same thing to work with, and it's just all the same floating around. And I don't like to use the same stuff everybody else does. I like to sort of separate myself from everybody and use something different, and try to get the better, and I'm competitive. Everybody's competitive. I try to get the better of the products to use for myself and show it in my videos and stuff, and then try to sell it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we can definitely talk about that if you'd like to do something like that. I can introduce you to like Yolatech. I work with Yolatech. So Christian, I know the owner, Christian, over at Yolatech. He has a bunch of camera mounts, a bunch of chargers for cameras, batteries for cameras and things that if you're using GoPros or anything like that for your hunts, he has juice banks and camera arms and all that stuff.
Okay.
I work with Winsent and Fourth Arrow. So I do the Winsent. That's a scent company, obviously, and then Fourth Arrow is camera arms, like for tree stands, to move your cameras and stuff. So I work with a bunch of companies, some fishing companies, that Redmond Hunting, Trophy Rock, that's Redmond Hunting, Jinxum Sense. I use Jinxum Sense. I just started using them this year. I just got on their field staff team. I've been promoting the heck out of them this year because that's where I shot my buck this past Thursday, and he came right into the central, and it's like the first time that I've actually had a scent work that I've had out in the woods. So I'm really excited about working with Jinxum Scent. So if there's anything you want to talk about or anything off camera, feel free. Gary can give you my number or whatever. We can talk about if you're interested in doing everything. I love helping people out, and I'd be willing to help you out, or even like possibly working with you on some stuff coming up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to give James a couple little quick gifts, and then hopefully we play the video where he took me out on a surprise boat ride. This is our little friend Albert. Albert the alligator. And here's some little leftover tackle. I just had in my storage unit some of the stuff I still had left from when I sold tackle.
Yeah, Dan's in here. Dan, the droning veteran, said hello, everyone. Dan's in here.
Oh, cool.
How you doing, man?
Then we're also going to give him. He's got a beautiful hat here with no gold hat hook on it, so we're going to tighten this fella up.
Nice.
And the other thing I'm going to show you real quick, and then we're going to hopefully go watch that little video where he took me on a boat ride. I'm gifting him some deer corn. Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah, I need a bag of that too for Ohio this next week. So send me one.
So yeah, it's
That deer
40
corn went
pound
up.
bag.
How much are you paying for the deer corn down your way?
Well, I work at like a discount grocery store, and we sell. It's 40 pound bag. It's $9.16 or something plus 10% plus
Yeah.
tax. So it's less than $10. I calculated. I think it's like 25 cents per pound.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that's good, but I'm not really a hunter.
Yeah. Yeah. We spend a lot of money on corn and stuff in Ohio, hunting them over bait piles. I buy horse feed and corn because I think I try to be different instead of just dumping corn out like everybody else. I try to put corn under it. I'll dump the sweet feed, horse feed on top of the corn. That way, if it does rain or get wet, that molasses and stuff coats the corn. It gives them something a little extra in my eyes. So I do that. We have a place down there that we get corn now because there's guys down there. We have leases down there, and there's guys down there that buy thousands of pounds of corn. They have their own silo and they fill it up, and it's like a ridiculous amount of corn. But we get them for about $6 a bag for 50 pounds. If you buy multiple bags, like it's like 10 bags and over, you get it at that discount. But that's about the same price at like a Rural King or a Tractor Supply here. It's like $9.99 a bag, basically around here. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is about average price for a bag of corn around here. But we also go to the what we call the grain silos down the road from my house, and we get like a 50-gallon drum, and it's not like this flavored corn. It's just corn, but it's like for a 50-gallon drum. It's like I think this year it's around $40 for 50 gallons. But it can change throughout the year. Like last year, we was paying $50 and $60 for it. It dropped a little bit this year, but it could go up.
Yeah, it changes all the time.
I hunt mostly the management areas and public land, and here in Florida we can't bait, so I don't do corn very much, or we can't and do food plots and stuff.
He's going to gift it. He already told me he's going to gift this to a friend that has private land. So
yeah, for sure.
All right,
cool.
Let's if you guys are okay with it, can we show this little fishing, not really fishing tour, boat tour he took me on real quick?
Yeah, man, just get it up there. It's already up and ready to go, and then I'll just hit the play button or whatever. See when it's up.
Add to stage.
There it is. Okay, now let me go and hit play, and then we'll watch it.
This is beautiful. You guys are going to like it. Anybody watching, you're going to love this video. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you see it playing now?
That was really, yes, sir.
Okay.
Hold on. All right. Trying to get turned here. Oh, yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me get fully turned. I don't want to end up in the water. All right, here we go.
That looks neat.
Hey, Kendall Frederick, eat your heart out, brother. That's a great YouTube channel, Kendall Frederick. Good dude. Look at this. Welcome to paradise. This is it. We're out. We're out and about. We're doing this. This is why nature can soothe your soul. Look at this. Yeah.
You guys can hear that okay?
Yeah, we're making it happen on a whim, no less. Can you believe that? Looks like some type of shanty or something up here. Something got destroyed. James is working the motor now, and I'm just up front trying to get the best view possible. This is amazing. We're going to talk to him. He has a really cool Facebook group. I think many of you guys will want to partake in. Look at this. Look at that. Good golly. There's still a folding chair on that thing. I don't know if we can get a good angle at it. But yeah, see that metal folding chair? Somebody may still utilize that in some capacity. But look at this. You think there's any fish in here? Yeah, usually it's pretty good out here. When I've talked to these guys coming off the water, they're always doing pretty well. But wow. I'm at a free campground, getting a free boat ride with a really cool dude. I'm going to let him announce his group on Facebook, his YouTube channel. Look at this. Can life get any better than this? Beautiful area.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Just like the bayou, man.
I take it there's gators in there as well, right?
I was thinking
Oh, yeah.
myself, you know,
Yeah. I'd love to go gator
if-
hunting. That's
what
what my
if
thing with a
something
bow. I'd love to
happened
go
and this
bow
vessel
hunting.
sunk?
One left.
I am not prepared
Gators
for
was
this
fun,
type
man.
of
It
outdoor
was fun.
survival.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got me thinking, you know, kind of like Survivor Man or whatever that other show is, Dual Survivor, whatever you want to call it. But boy, you talk about beautiful out here.
Dan
This
said
is
that's a
really
beautiful
nice.
area.
I've seen something similar to this in Delaware, believe it or not. There's 2 places called Trap and Trustham's Pond, but it's not this beautiful. They're not as large. Look at this. Crazy. Look at that hollowed out cypress tree over there in the background. That's probably like an Ambrose Point.
I take it, James, you have to have a flat bottom boat for that stuff in there.
I thought that was
It helped.
that was only a leaf. I thought that was
Rumor
Top
has it
of
there's
a,
a huge pump out there.
a root or something.
Yeah.
All right, there's another fisherman up here.
I wouldn't
You
want to
probably
be
know
caught
everybody
down
on
there.
this
I
waterway.
probably wouldn't want to be stuck in there in the dark for sure.
Exactly what I was saying.
I'm
The
not
what
gonna
if moment,
film
you
them.
know?
In case they didn't want to be filmed.
Got some videos of me out there in the dark. On
Looks like they're
my
just
Facebook
chilling.
account.
Really?
You know, it looks a lot different at night than it
So
does
he's
during
going
the
to turn
day.
us around so we don't disturb
I bet
these
there's a lot of
fishermen.
eyes looking at you in the dark.
Sometimes there is,
Really?
but we
Yeah,
only
so-
got to see a little
Wow.
bit of it because I didn't want to go by the guy fishing.
Camping
And
for
miss
free,
him.
getting a free boat ride.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
Have
out
a
there
very
another day,
economical meal plan
That's
for later
a
tonight.
lot more. Thinking just some
You're probably
lesser
saying,
known-
"Gee, money, why would you even
Uh-huh.
leave?" Apparently,
Yeah, that
there's
just
this
looks
thing called
great. It's a whole
employment.
nother world, man. It's just a whole nother world.
Totally.
So,
It's
yeah, wow.
It's a, all
I don't
you
even
know,
have my
like-
selfie stick. This
just
is
like
just
the
my
bayou,
tripod
man.
that I'm holding.
That's what it is.
Hopefully, this is a good
Yeah.
production for you guys. This is what the outdoors is all about: discovering new places, meeting, re-meeting old friends, sharing the passion.
You can go on a couple miles back in there.
Oh yeah, really? That far? A couple miles? He said we can go back up in these Cypress River area. Didn't you? Oh, hold on. Whoops. I almost knocked his minnows over. That wouldn't be a very good deal. Get invited for a boat ride.
Yeah, that's 9
something
minutes
off.
right there, like you
Hold on.
wanted to show. So you can
Anyway.
let me hit
Hold on
pause and then
one
you can
second.
just click it off if you'd like to.
Nice. Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So, talked a little bit of fishing, talked a little bit of hunting. Ted, what's the name of the, as soon as you say it, I know I'm going to remember it. I'm going to call it an albino deer. You shot a video of it in your, what? Yeah, something like that.
There's a piebald deer, but I had a pure albino in front of my house this year or last year when he there was supposedly 3 doe and it was pretty cool to watch.
Nice.
They didn't come back this year, so I don't know. I would never shoot a white deer myself, but unless it was
Right.
like a world record buck or something. But there's too much juju behind shooting a white deer, so I don't mess with them.
Bad karma.
Yeah. So,
Well, that's
but hey,
cool.
Jay, go ahead.
I was just going to ask him real quick. Like, I know there's just based on watching all the YouTube channels and stuff like that, so definitely a different size of deer where you know, Ohio and Pennsylvania versus Florida. But what would be like an average size buck down here in this region and a doe, or
A doe, an average size doe, 90 to 100 pounds is average.
okay,
You start getting over 100, she's getting pretty big. Average size buck, average size, I would say probably between 140 to 160. You start getting over 160, get pretty big, which we do have, 190s, 200-pound bucks around here.
Do you that big? Yeah. Now what's about like a score, like score of the rack? Like What's an average score? Like, I don't want to say average because you don't really take the scores of average deer. Like, what's a good buck down there? Like, what class of a buck? Like 130s, 140s, 150s,
You get into
120s?
you kill a 130, you've done something.
Okay.
Probably average. And the thing about it is it gets into down here. A lot of people are kind of just shooting whatever's legal.
No,
And
I
so a
got
lot
you.
of folks don't get the opportunity to really reach their potential.
So there's not a lot of people managing the herd down that way,
There's
basically.
not a lot of managing. We have entirely too many does down here, and I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but our FWC ain't really helping matters for that none. But the biggest buck that I've killed was a 175-pound 8-point, and I believe he scored. It was like 112 to 115.
Okay.
And I was absolutely thrilled about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the thing.
Other people from other places, they're like, "Oh, that's a little 2.5-year-old buck right there where I'm from," and I'm like, "Well, this one was a mature buck, you know."
Yeah, that one I got live on Thursday was like 100, maybe 90, 95 inches or whatever, almost 100. It didn't, but it was like it made me happy, and as long as it makes you happy, that's all that matters, man.
And that's how I am. You know, especially hunting management area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not going to see as many big ones.
Mm-hmm.
I had one that walked in behind me last year. He probably was scored between 110, maybe 120. And I had actually moved where I was sitting at, because I do a lot of saddle hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And where I was sitting at before, there was an old road bed up in front of me. The deer were crossing the creek, and they were following that road bed, and they wasn't coming in to where I was at to let me get a shot. So I moved up closer to the road bed, and he ended up walking behind me, caught my scent, and I missed the opportunity at him. If I'd have been sitting where I normally sit, I'd have been probably 30, 40 yards in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it is what it is.
Can you explain something to me? Just being not really a hunter, and I'm a Yankee on top of it. What do you call a saddle? Something? What is that?
Well, a saddle is basically like a harness. You have your climbing stick, and you've got a rope that goes around from your saddle, and it's got like a seat in it that you kind of.
It's almost like a tree stand in a way.
Yeah, it's more like a harness that you wear like at work, but it doesn't have the straps that go over your shoulders.
Okay.
I think some of them have that now, and you just kind of you shimmy up the tree, and you put your sticks on, and you have a little base that you can mount to the tree for your feet. Then you have a lanyard once you get up the tree that you connect to your harness here, and you tie it around the tree, and you can just kind of lean back, and you're just basically standing up there. But you really have like 360 degrees you can hunt. You know,
Nice.
And for this river swamp here, it's a lot better to use, a lot easier to use than say like a climber, because a lot of these trees out here aren't exactly straight. These swamp trees are all crooked and stuff. So.
And a lot of them are bigger at the base. A lot of the trees are bigger at the base than you go up.
And so you can, so like with a climber, you might have to put your base way up here and climb up in it, to where with the saddle you can maneuver up the tree a lot better on them bigger bases like those.
You're more mobile too, Gary. You're way more mobile with a harness. I'm going to be looking into getting that for Ohio, because you know, you spend all the time, you go down there, you throw in some lock-in stands, or you throw up a ladder stand, and you end up sitting there, and then you see your deer at 80 yards away, and you see him again, and then you see him again, and you're like, guess what? I need to be about 50, 60 yards further. So instead of taking your whole setup down, you have a saddle. Basically, you can wear it in with you, carry your own ladder sticks, and you could be moved and mobile very quickly. You got a gator coming in.
No, when I showed up at this campsite, the people that were here previously did everything wrong, and there was a piece of lumber that was still smoldering. It was hot. They didn't extinguish it. There's all kinds of cans in there, and all of a sudden it just now decided to smoke us out. Here, we can. I got my bottle of water. Hang tight with us, folks. Hey, if you guys are liking this video and you're having a good time, please hashtag Swamp Gang. That's his hashtag for his group, Swamp Gang. You can be part of the gang.
That's cool.
All right, so we're good, folks. So, Ted, let me ask you a quick question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
He did bring his bow in a case here. Is that going to present any problems when we display this on YouTube?
I don't think so. I think you're fine with the bow, showing
Okay.
it off and stuff. Yeah.
He's going to show us what kind of bow he has.
Yeah, I think the gun thing is what you got to be careful with.
Yeah.
Right. I just trying to see why, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
And I don't know
cool.
exactly, Gary, but all the videos. I mean, bow. Yeah, you can show your bow and stuff like that. It's a little different.
I think I recall seeing like deer meat for dinner and stuff have a bunch of bows on his videos. So
Yeah. I have my bow. I have crossbows and bows on mine, and they didn't do nothing. Now the blood and the aftermath is a different story. When you're showing, you don't want to gut the deer and stuff online, live and stuff like that. You don't want to do any of that stuff. So.
So I'm gonna let him talk about this, and then I heard you mention crossbow, and I asked him something about crossbow. So I'm just gonna let James take over and tell us whatever he wants to tell us because
Yeah, I just came inside from shooting my bow out in the yard just about before I ready to. After I talked to Gary, I went out and shot my bow and then come back in.
Nice.
So this is a bear, legit.
Yep.
And this is one of my bows, and I brought this one to talk about because this one would be a good starter or like a budget bow. Because I believe I bought this one about 2 years ago, so the price could be a little different now, but I think it was between $500 and $600, and it came hunt ready with your sights. It came with a whisker biscuit. I've still got that on there, but after this season I'm gonna upgrade to a drop away rest. I'm not a big fan of whisker biscuits, but it was on there. But
Nice.
But yeah, I brought this one to kind of talk about like a budget bow for somebody maybe just wanting to get into shooting or get into hunting. They're not wanting to spend a whole lot of money. They don't really know what all components they need for it. It comes hunt ready, and it's about $500 to $600 2 years ago. So it may be a little bit more now versus.
Can you see that okay, Ted?
Yep, I can see it.
Versus like a Hoyt or a Matthews or a Bowtech or something where you're gonna get up
you need to take out a loan to buy one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It comes naked with nothing on it, and you're already at $1,200.
Yep.
You get into it and you don't like it, and you're $1,200 deep just in a bow.
So let me ask you something, Ted. I could ask him, but you're here and you're doing a great job educating us. I noticed he's got these little oval. I almost want to call it a wheel, but it's not really round. Why is it contoured like that, which looks like an egg almost?
Well, if they have different let-offs and different like let-offs, you could have 50, 60, 70, 80, and I think bows nowadays are 90% let-off. There's single cams, double cams, all kinds of different stuff out there. The cams are what they call a cam is the oblong. If you have a single cam, you'll have one wheel on the bottom and one cam on the top. Back in the day, I had a Martin Firecat and it had two cams on it. And they were the size of a paper plate. They were enormous. And that thing shot fast, but it gives you recoil, So they tried to get smoother shooting bows. They went to the wheel, single cam for that to give you a smoother shooting bow. But nowadays, the new bows that are coming out here, the cams to give you the speed are a lot smoother, and people really like that let off, that 80, 90% let off. That means if you have a 100-pound bow and you pull it back, you're holding back 40 pounds. If it's 60% let off, 80% let off, so you can hold your bow back longer, and there's like a breaking point that it pulls until you break over, and you're what they call the let off. And then once you have the let off, you're only holding so many, like 10 pounds as opposed to a 70-pound bow or something like that. But that legit that's a nice bow.
You can feel that let off because when you're right here, you're holding it. Right there's the let off. And now I'm just
breaks over.
I could hold this almost all day. Not literally, but
Right.
But
It
Yeah.
seems like I said, I'm not a hunter, but it seems very quiet. I didn't hear any squeaking or anything when you did that.
yeah, I keep mine. I keep some grease and stuff on it to make sure
Yep.
and what a lot of people, and I've done it myself. Don't forget to clean your strings and and wax them,
Yep.
because they will fray and get dry rotted. Especially like a lot of people, once bow season's over, they throw it in their case and they don't see it again until next bow season.
Mhm.
They'll fray and dry rot in the case, especially if you don't have a case and you just kind of throw it in your closet or your garage or something.
Just like fishing line, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's just like anything else, you want to keep it lubricated and keep it clean and take care of it, and it'll last you for a long time.
Yep.
And don't dry fire it.
No, don't dry fire. You'll ruin
Can
it.
you show us this arrow and this tip, and tell me what were your thoughts on this type of tip? And
Sure.
then I want to ask some questions after we go through a little bit of more chit chat about scents, human scents. So I'm very curious about that.
So this is a Easton. This is one of the. This is a carbon. It's one of the cheaper arrows that Easton makes, and I mean, you can spend pretty much whatever you want on arrows. You can get custom
Mhm.
arrows and stuff. But this tip right here is one that I just got that I'm going to try this year. It's a B3 archery,
Uh-huh.
and it's a mechanical broadhead, but it doesn't have like the Rage and stuff has the little rubber band on it that folds
Can I
down.
show it to the camera
Yeah.
real quick? Let me know if you can see this. Okay, Ted, is that coming up? Is that visible?
Yeah, hold it straight up and down too. That way they can see it. Yeah, hold it like that. Yep.
And
Yep.
then when it hits,
The
it
blades
folds
open up.
out.
Yep. That almost looks
Yeah.
like one of those beast broadheads that they have out, the new beast broadheads too. That's a nice looking broadhead.
And like I said, I haven't used this. I've seen them and picked them up a few months ago at a local outdoor store we got.
What's the
And
cutting diameter on that, James, if you don't
I
mind me
want to
asking?
say it's like an inch, not inch. I want to say 2 inches,
Okay.
1 3/4 to 2 inches. I think
Yep. And that's a 3-blade?
it's a 3-blade, and I used to use the Muzzy tricars.
Yep.
Or
Trocars, yeah.
Trocars, yeah. I used to use those, and I seen and the reason I picked these up was because they were out of the Muzzies, and I needed some. So I said, well, these look pretty awesome. I'll try these out.
Yep.
And I was actually going to do a video where, and kind of do a video on what I thought about them once I shot a deer with it.
Yep.
And do like a little review on it.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's, James, that's another thing that I wanted to tell you too. If you start doing that, like with the products and product reviews, people go on to YouTube to see who does product reviews, and you'll get a lot of companies reaching out to you. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get companies that you want to work with, and you're going to have to find that out for yourself, but I mean, I've had people call me for coffee. I've had people call me for lighting. I've had people call me for hunting, camping, fishing. Like if I don't use it on my channel, I usually I won't do the product review. Hunting, fishing, anything like that related, if I'm going to use it. Sometimes I try it and say, okay, I'll try it. And then you don't want to use it. So if you do a little bit of a product review on your channel, you'll start getting a little bit of people reaching out to you and sending you stuff too. I don't know I didn't know how familiar you are with that, but you seem like the perfect guy that will do a perfect, a review, especially hunting and fishing. And you'll get those companies looking out, and they will start giving you an email. If you leave an email in your description, they'll reach out to you like an email and ask you, hey, do you want to try this trail camera? And then you try it, and then you give them your opinion. And I always give people my honest opinion,
Yeah.
When's the rut down there, James?
YouTube is pretty, I think I got 322 subscribers right now.
Yeah.
I actually started it a few years ago, and with just work and everything, I had to kind of give up on it.
Yep.
And I just within the last couple months started it back up again.
Well, that's good. That's good.
It's so I'm trying to get some videos on it. I've done some shorts. I've done some short videos and stuff on it, and
yeah.
So it's just getting started again.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're starting your stuff back up again. But I'll definitely subscribe and tag you on some things and get you in there. But a good thing to do too for the, and I'm just trying to, I don't know how well you're into it or whatever. I'm just trying to say stuff that maybe you probably might have already done it or whatever, but get into those, some people's live streams and stuff that are related to what you like to do, like the hunting or fishing. If you see a live stream that's on YouTube and you have the time, you pop into those and you say hi, and your name gets in there and people start seeing it. And then they click on your, they can click right on your channel right from that live.
Yeah. Okay,
and
that's
they
a
can
good
check
idea.
you out. So you go out and you sort of market yourself a little bit. You're sort of streamlining yourself out there and doing your networking that way. But jump into a bunch of lives. Like if you see them, if you have time, that helps a lot with getting subscribers and you'll get them with the people that do what you do. You know what I mean? And then you start conversating with people and sharing stories, and then they watch your videos, and then, it's just it's a slow growth pattern unless you're doing something that's amazing. And I don't want to say that your stuff isn't amazing. I'm saying is something can catch on really big and you could blow up overnight. You know what I mean? So there's always that factor there. And even for me, I try to, it only takes that one video or something to go viral, and you never know what can happen. So it's a passion of mine. YouTube is a passion. It's on top of my list. Like besides family, work, and hunting and fishing, my YouTube is right there. And I try to, every week I put out a video every Wednesday at 7 p.m. On my channel. And that's hard to do. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah.
For sure. Yep.
All right. So this is a question. I've been dying to get to these questions.
Yep.
He chews and you chew.
Yep.
Right. So this is probably similar in different parts of the country, but in Florida, we get a lot of swirling winds. So the first topic is going to be chew scent when you're up in a tree stand or in a blind or whatever. Seems to me like, I don't care what people say. It seems like I've always heard deer and hogs have a real good sense of smell. Tell me
yeah, they
thoughts.
do. You want me to go or do you want James to go?
Deers.
Go ahead.
Well, I will say this. I always carry a bottle with me and don't carry one of these.
No, you carry carry a thicker bottle that don't make noise in the woods.
Like a Gatorade bottle or one of these.
Yeah.
Because when
exactly
you grab
what I do.
Noise.
So non-recyclable plastic.
Yeah. But I've forgot my bottles before and been spitting on the ground and had deer walk behind me, downwind from me, and not alert on it. I don't know if it's maybe one of those scents that they don't associate with people, or what, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not real sure about the dip and everything, because I know some of these old timers dip and smoke and man, they set up in their tree stands smoking and kill deer.
That was my next question. Talking about smoke, that seems like that would be a dead giveaway. But
I agree. I don't agree with the smoke. Like the chew thing, like James was saying, I always carry a thicker bottle. The cap is real quiet.
Right.
Spit in the cap, put it back in your backpack. But I just did a video. One of my videos that just came on. I just did a video. I had a red fox in front of me, and I spit right in front of him, and he smelt that spit and took off. I did a little short about that as well. Now that's a fox. I've already peed out of a tree. I've already spit out of a tree, and I had deer come right up and smell it and not alert at all. I think it matters where you're at in the woods. If you're hunting like locally and there's houses and dogs barking and you got the barbecue grills going on, you got the kids screaming in the yard, and I hunt those kind of woodlots here at home, like urban hunts. But when I go down Ohio, it's a whole different game. Those deer don't smell that barbecue. They don't smell the eggs cooking in the morning. They don't hear the kids screaming. So they're more sensitive to that stuff. The deer in these city and urban areas are used to people walking their dogs down the street, they smell that all the time. So you can get away with a lot more when you're hunting around those areas where there's human intrusion, is what I want to call it. Human intrusion around you. They tolerate human scent a lot more, but go out to the big woods in Ohio, they're not going to tolerate it. If you're not hunting the wind, you're not seeing deer. That's just how it is.
And I feel the same way about the scents that you like, the scent killers and stuff. I'm not saying that they don't eliminate some scent, but I don't believe that they completely eliminate anything, because I've sprayed myself down with it before and been busted.
Yeah.
The main thing you gotta do is make sure that you're playing your wind right. I mean, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
If they get any inkling of a scent, you're done.
Yeah, there's no way to take out 100% of your human scent. Now, I don't know if you're familiar, James, with the ElimiShield. I've been working with them this year as well, and they have some stuff that is like clinically based stuff, and I've been using that since last September. They have a body foam, and I've tried all the body foams, Phase and all that from Deer Society and all this stuff, and I got hooked up with the ElimiShield, and I'm telling you what, I haven't used stick deodorant since last September. I get a little shot of foam on my fingers, put it under my armpits, and I've tried it. I went to work without it, and I smelt myself, and then I put it on, and it eliminates. But it works the best way if you go to 3 steps and you get a shower, put it on, I put it in my hair. Now, down in Florida, you only walk a few steps, and you're sweating already. You know what I mean? Because it's
right
more humid and stuff like that. So that ElimiShield product, I'm really sold on that. It's awesome. They have a thing called Extend, and you can soak your clothes, your undergarments in that, and that sort of becomes your scent elimination, where it controls your human odor at the skin contact. So socks, underwear, base layers, anything that's touching your skin, you put 3 gallons of water up. I did a video on that as well. You soak it in 3 gallons of hot water. You put an ounce per pound of clothing. So what I did was I had 2 5-gallon buckets. I filled them up with water, like 3 gallons of water, hot water. It has to be over 120 degrees. So I filled them both up with hot water, poured half of the bottle in each one of them. And then I soaked my base layers and everything, socks, underwear, hat, baklava, any face mask or anything, soaked them in there for 10 minutes. Then you take them out and you hang them over your line to dry, drip dry. And once they're done drip drying and everything, you can throw them into the dryer to dry them on like a light dry. And it's good up to 50 washes, and it's supposed to control your human scent. It kills the bacteria that develops in your skin, as long as you're using the base layers. Now, and I'm going on to this because it's kind of important to me. Scent is like a real big thing in my repertoire. Like I try to be as scent free as I can. I have a ozone tank downstairs where all my clothes are in right now, and every day I go down and put it on, and I get the ozone machine running through all my clothes every day. So I do that, and then they have the spray, just like the field spray. They have the foam. I use the foam on my hair, my armpits, the back of my legs, my feet in the morning. Then I spray down. But a lot of people go out, like, the hunt, spray it and dry it. It kills 99% of the human replicated odors and all that good stuff, Well, if you're spraying the outside of your clothing, that's fine. But the stuff that's touching your skin, where your scent's coming from, you want something to, the molecules to absorb that. So what I do is I turn all my clothing inside out, spray it, then I turn it back out, then I spray again. So I'm doing the inside and outside of my clothing. I think that's just a little bit of a extra step to do, to just give you that little bit. Now, I'm not going to say I never get busted, because sometimes you don't know, because if you're downwind of a deer, you might not even see that deer. He might come in, see you, and just scoot out of there, and you don't know. But all the deer that are up close, and this year I've had them directly under me. I've had them downwind of me at my scrape already, and I haven't been busted. So, and the smell from me, just human smell, me smelling my armpits. I know it's a little weird on here, but smell your armpits when you go to work, smell your armpits when you're done. It's not pretty. You put that stuff on, and I don't have that smell. So I really, really am a big fan of the ElimiShield, and I promote the ElimiShield on my channel as well.
Okay. That's good information.
So let me, I think I know the answer to the question I'm about to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So it's safe to say, a deer, if he alerts on your scent or a scent that they feel uncomfortable with, they're just going to vacate, correct?
Yep. pretty
Yeah.
much.
Now,
And sometimes you won't even, like he said, you won't even know they're there. They
Right.
may be 50, 60 yards behind you. You can't even see them. And they won't, like, take off running and you hear them crashing through the woods. They just turn around and walk off.
now,
Yeah.
just from watching Nick from Multi Hunter 24/7, my assumption that a hog may be different. He may approach you because of a scent. Is that possible? They could stalk you because of your scent, a hog?
I'm not really. I've hog hunted in Ohio, and I'll answer this, and then I'll let James answer because he probably has more experience than me at that. I've hunted some game farms in Ohio. I've never hunted them out in the wild, but I went to game farms to shoot hogs, and they're dangerous for sure. They'll charge you and stuff like that. They're pretty temperamental animals. We went to see one, and it was trying to bust the gate to get at us. You know what I mean? Like they're pretty violent. I've hunted on 200 or 300 acres, fenced in areas where I've been there. I did spot and stalk. I've watched my dad shoot one 4 or 5 times and broke every arrow and charge him. I watched my brother-in-law shoot a hog and basically gut shot the hog, and the entrails were hanging out, and another hog was eating the entrails while they're standing next to each other. I've seen that happen. So a hog is a whole different animal than a deer. The smell, I would say, I wouldn't be so concerned. I wouldn't be as concerned of my scent with a hog than I would with a deer. But I would still try to control my scent and keep the wind and all that you're in front of you and stuff like that. I would still hunt them like a deer with the wind and everything, and I would still use my scent. But I don't think a hog is. If a hog smells you, I don't think he's going to vacate the area as quickly as a deer would. I just don't see that happening. That's just my experience, and that's on a game farm. That ain't out in the wild. They may act different in the wild, and James probably knows more about that than I do, so I'll let him answer that.
I've had different experiences out here on the river swamp on the management area. If in a lot of my experiences, if a hog smells you, they're gone.
Okay.
Now they can see you or hear you, and they may stick around and try to figure out something. I've had them looking straight at me, and wind's blowing in my face, so they're not smelling me, and just stand there and look at me like they're trying to figure out what I am. But if I'm walking through there, or if a hog walks in and catches my scent, like I was sitting there, I actually killed this hog last year. He was a 225-pound boar. I was sitting on what we call wet weather pond, where wet weather and the river rises. It's a pond out there. Now it's just dry, open, dry spot. I was sitting on the edge of one because there was a lot of deer crossing across the wet weather pond. I was sitting on the edge of it. The wind was was blowing in my face when I got there, and it turned and it was blowing across me this way. So it wasn't blowing out into it, so I wasn't exactly worried about it. But the hog came in from my left side, and my wind was blowing over here. And as soon as he got in, like right on the edge of that wet weather pond into my scent, he stopped and turned and went the other way. I was hunting with a 12 gauge buckshot, and I was able to get a shot off on him. He ran maybe 25 yards and fell. And but as soon as he got that scent, he was gone.
Yeah, that's good to know.
That's been a lot of my experience with other hogs.
Mm-hmm.
And but I mean, to be honest with you, out here, to me, hogs are easier to hunt than deer. I've shot a ton of hogs just walking around on foot, and as long as they ain't smelling you, I've walked within. I killed one last year that was a little over 300 pounds, and I was 30 yards from it.
Yeah. I consider the hogs like the rats of the woods, the big rats of the woods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like a nuisance, man.
They really are. But the hogs, to me, at least here, they seem like they rely more on their sense of smell than they do their eyesight or their hearing.
Yeah, I believe a hog don't have real good eyesight.
They don't, and you can tell it when they're looking at you, and they're just kind of like. I mean, I've had them within meet of your van from me, and just looking at me like, well, what is that? What are you?
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Ted. You and I talked prior to going live on here And you mentioned crossbow earlier. Is it legal in Pennsylvania and or Ohio to use a crossbow?
Yes. Yep. You're allowed to use a crossbow.
Is it a seasonal thing or any type?
You can use it in archery season. You can use a crossbow in gun season. You can use some bow in gun season here if you want. You just can't use a gun in bow season. You can use a bow
Yeah.
in gun season, but you can't use the gun in bow season.
So you said crossbows.
Well, I think it used to be you had to have a medical reason to
Yeah.
use a crossbow. But I do believe, and I don't use crossbows, so I haven't looked at I haven't looked at the rules for it. But I do believe they have opened it up to where you can use them during bow season and, like he said, during gun season. The thing with different with bow season with us is we have a few different regulations, especially on public land with bow hunting, as far as once gun season comes in.
Yeah.
The only time we can shoot those on management land out here, especially this one, is during bow season.
Yeah.
We're allowed to. And once bow season goes out, even like I think last year they started it where we used to only have like 2 weekends during October or December, whatever we called them doe days. That was the only times you could kill them without a tag. And then in November you could beginning of gun season. I think there was the weekend of that. You could kill those.
Yeah. And there was
But
big
now
controversy.
all season, but you're allowed 3.
Okay. Yeah, there was big controversy in PA, and the bow hunter going against the crossbow hunter, cheating and it's not right and all that stuff. I mean, there was a lot of that when it first come out. There still is some of that out there that people say, "Oh, you're a crossbow hunter, you're not a bow hunter." I was a bow hunter all my life without a crossbow, and when I started hunting Ohio, and I started messing up on these big deer. And it was legal to use a crossbow in there. My buddies were shooting deer with crossbows, and I was missing, or I wasn't getting chances at these big deer with my bow because it's a lot harder. You're moving, you got to pull your bow back. A crossbow is basically a gun, with an arrow on it. There's way less movement with a crossbow. I mean, you could be set up and just it's a lot. I don't want to say easier because I don't ever want to think that, I don't want anybody thinking it's easier because I haven't shot a 150 yet with my crossbow and I'm still waiting to do that. But a bow, you got a lot more movement. You can't hold it as long, like a crossbow, you're ready to go. All you got to do is pull the trigger and you have a scope. You got sights, you got your eyes, you got your anchor points, you got to pull it back, you got to hold it, you got to maneuver. Bow, it's a totally different, basically sport. Really. Yeah. But I blew my arm. I don't know if you remember my arm. I ripped my bicep off my arm and it come down to my wrist at work. And so I was unable to pull a bow back for a while. And this year right now, I mean, just like 2 days ago, I started shooting my bow again back in my yard. And I'm feeling it because I haven't shot a bow in a couple of years and I'm pulling my bow back, man. You're using muscles you don't use, when you're pulling a bow back. You can get I've already done it before back in the day. I shot 70 pounds and these dudes are weightlifters and they want to, and I'm like, you can't pull this bow back. And they're like, yeah, I can. And they grab the bow and this dude can't pull the bow back because he's never done it before. And he's like, damn, man, that's hard. And then I grab the bow and I pull it right back and I'm shooting it. And he's like, how can you pull that back? I'm like, it's something weird about it. But people that don't use it and don't hunt don't know how to pull a bow back. And so I'm trying to get back in. I think I'm going to do a doe hunt here coming up soon by my house. I'm going to use my regular bow and get it on video and me shooting a bow. But Ohio, I want a big deer. I want to shoot a big deer down there. That's my goal. And I'm going to use a crossbow. And after I do that, then I may go back to my bow down there or whatever. But I have the option of both. And I'm going to be, before I couldn't use my bow because of my arm, my injury. And that's how it used to be. Like James said, you had to have a doctor's excuse to use a crossbow. Now that's not the case. And I disagree with all the hunters that go out there and they go to the store and they buy a crossbow and they shoot it twice and they think that they go out and they can go hunting. That's with any weapon. You need to practice. You have to know your weapon. You owe it to the animal for a humane kill, and you don't want to shoot a deer in the behind, in the rear end, because of your stupidity. You practice with your weapon. You practice with your gun every year. I mean, and it's sort of the same thing. I don't want to talk a lot about guns, but people that carry guns on their hips, half of them don't shoot their guns. They just carry a gun on their hip. So I'll take my chances with him shooting at me than somebody else who practices every day. You know what I mean? Like, just because you own a gun doesn't mean you can protect yourself, because that's not what you do. You have a weapon, you owe it to the deer. Practice with your weapon.
Let me ask you this. Let's say 200-pound buck. What's percentage of yield are you going to get from a 200-pound buck? Something like that.
You mean like meat wise?
Yes, sir.
I think my deer that I just shot, I'll probably get about 40, 50 pounds of meat from it, somewhere around. A 200-pound buck, though, is a 200-pound deer is a very big and rare deer. I mean, people think, oh, I got a 20-inch spread. Yeah, you're not shooting 20-inch spread deer. It goes out to their ears at 16 inches. You know what I mean? There's 20-inch deer are enormous. And like that's just a language that people have. Oh, I shot a 200-pound deer, I'm going to get 100 pounds of meat. That's not the case. It's a big animal, 200-pound deers, and you're probably going to get about 70 to maybe 90 pounds if you have a good butcher. But you know, you got to know your butcher, and the butcher has to spend time on that and take the meat off of it correctly. There's a lot of people out here, you take your deer in, it's an assembly line, man. They're cutting the main cuts and they're wasting a lot of the meat, and you're not getting your whole deer. So I recommend you find somebody that you trust, just like your mechanic on your vehicle. Find somebody you can trust, and you know you're going to get all your meat back and the best cuts, and it's taken care of correctly. So you don't get like 200 pounds of meat from a deer. That's not going to happen.
Cool. How are you doing on time? I think I'm out of questions personally, but
I have one question for James. When is the rut in Florida?
Oh man, that's a good one. Up here in Zone D, where we're at, you start looking for pre-rut around middle of December.
Okay.
And then the rut will come in around January, and we will have does being bred from January to about April.
Wow.
And it'll go in cycles. You'll have bucks starting to run does, and then all of a sudden it'll stop, and then a week or two later they go again. Or like I'll be over here hunting and I'm not seeing any rut action, but 10 miles down the road, my buddy's on his lease, and he's like, man, these bucks are running all over the place, and I ain't seeing nothing. And then a week later, he's not seeing anything, but I'm seeing it. It's very hard to – it's an unpredictable rut. You just kind of got to be out there at the right time.
Yeah, they're starting to push up here right now. They're starting to push. Like the deer that I shot last week was pushing doe. Now, he wasn't in full rut or nothing, but he was grunting a little bit and pushing and testing them out. And a lot of the younger bucks do that early because they can. But when it's game on, those mature bucks will chase those bucks away and want to breed them does themselves, you know.
Our bucks here are just now beginning to bust out of their bachelor groups.
Okay.
And we've even still got a few that still got, velvet.
Yeah.
And like the other day I was in about a week ago, I was out there and it's not time for scrapes yet as far as for rut and pre-rut, but I found a scrape under a tree, and I actually done a video on it explaining, my knowledge of these early season scrapes. And, I told them, I talked about how the mature bucks, when they start breaking out of their bachelor groups, they start making scrapes early season to start, marking territory. And it still is a scent thing where they can communicate through scent, but it's a lot of your mature bucks that are breaking out of these bachelor groups, marking territory and scraping that way. Yep. And it has nothing to do with the rut yet. It's more of a, hey, this is mine, stay out, kind of deal.
Do you have the different kinds of scrapes that we call up here? We have like the territorial scrapes, but we also, and I don't know if this is more legend than true, but the community scrapes where all the deer are going to this scrape and hitting it, like the does, the bucks in that area, like during the summertime. Do you have the community scrapes that develop?
We do. They're kind of few and far in between. Like on some good trails, especially where they intersect at, you'll have some spots like that. they're kind of rare. You don't see them as much, but I do find them from time to time.
Okay.
But they're definitely not as prevalent as like the territorial or the rut scrapes, where you might
Gotcha.
find a whole line of them for 100 yards.
Yeah.
You know, but we do have them, and
Okay.
I do and I'll do like mock scrapes
Yep.
on especially in some places where heavy trails are intersecting, and
Yeah. The funnels
especially
and
on
the
funnels
transition
and
zones.
stuff where you got a couple trails coming in, and I'll do mock scrapes there.
We got a train coming by again. Sorry.
But actually though, I wanted to kind of talk about how I hunt out here, where I'm not,
Yeah.
hunting over bait and stuff like that.
Have at it. Yeah, tell us.
So when I'm out here on this river swamp, it really depends on river level, really, because like right now we have, as you can, the river's really low right now. We're sitting, I think I looked at the graph this morning, and we're sitting at like 2.1 foot.
So you're allowed to hunt in this wild management area that we're currently located in?
Yeah, this is actually part of it. So and last year we had this problem early in the season, all the way up until around December. It was low. River was low. The swamp was dry, and we didn't have a lot of the funnels that these sloughs and these wet weather ponds create. You might have a wet weather pond here, a wet weather pond here, and you have a little land bridge in between them. Well, those deer are going to follow that land bridge. Well, right now they can go wherever they want to go. So finding them right now is a lot harder than it is when the water's up. So bow season, early season like this, it's not as bad, because you can go out there and find you an oak ridge or a good oak flat, and they're going to come into the oak, to eat them acorns. But once all the acorns are gone, where do they go?
Mm-hmm.
And they a lot of them come up on the hills and get out of the river swamp, and they're up on the hills, getting into the fields, getting into the food plots, and they really just use the management area as just travel routes to get to these different places. And it can be hard to really figure out where they're moving at, because like I had places where I had cameras on, it looked like deer were crossing every day, and you may only have one or two deer come through there in a day, and
Yeah.
few in a week. They wasn't using the same travel routes that they were made to use when the water was up. Now once the water came up, you could get on these sloughs and find the crossing, and it's usually going to be a shallower spot where they don't have to swim as much, or they don't have to swim at all.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna talk about hunting the flooded swamps. Is you find the sloughs, and usually there's going to be most of the time on both sides of it, there's going to be a trail going up the slough, following the slough. And I'll follow those trails, and I'll find the crossings on the sloughs where they intersect these trails. And a lot of times, you can set up somewhere around that, and find your deer. And like I said, where sloughs or wet weather ponds create funnels of land bridges, those are always good spots, because it's gonna, instead of walking way around here to get over here, they're just gonna walk straight through. And even if it's a little low-lying place where the water maybe ain't a foot deep, versus over here where the water's 5 to 6 foot deep and they have to swim across, they'll walk through that water. I've even had deer on camera. My camera's up out of the water level's right up under it. I've had pictures of deer swimming by my camera.
Wow.
So they will swim, but if they don't have to, they're going to take the easiest path, and that's what I look for. Places that's going to be easier for them to get through. And a lot of times those big heavy trails, the does, the young bucks are using them. If you get off of them a little bit, you'll find like a little lighter trail, and that's usually what those older bucks, the mature bucks, are using.
Cool.
They will use them heavy trails, but they kind of like to stay off over here, a little bit thicker over here. They're not as open. And
the place I was at yesterday, Garstall Point South, I did that hike. That was like walking through a jungle. You could see all kinds of matted down grass, and there's no doubt in my mind, if I had been there early in the morning or late at night, there would have been hogs and deer and who knows. I don't even. Do we have Florida Panthers this far north up here?
Hey, we got a few.
Yeah,
You don't
it's
see
like,
them as much, but there's
it
some
was.
here.
It was like I was. No, I'm not gonna lie. I started questioning my decision to hike out there by myself for a mile and a half hike. First, I almost stepped on a snake. It turned out to be a harmless snake, but it could have been something that could have ruined my life.
Yeah.
He bite his back.
That's funny. Hey, Gare, I'm going to have to probably get off. We're getting ready to do our thing. So I just wanted to say, and I apologize, but I'll go back and watch the rest of it. But James, it was awesome to meet you, man. And in this live, Gary, do you have his channel in the live in your description?
It's I can say it verbally. I don't remember. I always butcher the last word. On Facebook, it's Southeast Heritage Outdoors.
Southeast Heritage, yeah.
On YouTube, it's Florida Outdoor Sportsman.
Okay.
Florida Outdoor is one word, correct?
2 words.
2 words?
It's 1 word on my Facebook because of how they made you do the name.
Okay.
Because on my personal page on Facebook, I'm Florida Outdoor Sportsman, and it's Florida Outdoor is 1 word and Sportsman is another word.
Okay, so it's Florida Outdoor Sportsman on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go over there right now, and I'm going to subscribe to you. But I look forward to talking to you more, James, about it, and maybe even hooking up and doing a collab or something at some time.
Okay.
But I'm sorry I have to go now. But I'll rewatch it again. Okay, guys.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, man. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your rest of your day. Yep.
All right. Thank you. All right. So we're still here with James, and I've got a couple more questions I'm going to ask James. One, this is a couple questions actually. They're a little bit all over the board here. I have some bear spray that I was sent to me from a friend because I'm always in the outdoors, and I really need to do a better job carrying this with me when I'm doing stupid stuff like I did yesterday. What are your thoughts? Like, if you're in a tree stand, do you think this is necessary, or how would you handle a situation where you're confronted by a bear, possibly?
Well, I've never had a situation with a bear, but just going by experiences I've other people has had that I've talked to that's hunted in different places. We don't have a big number of bear here. Let's say, like, over toward Eglin, over that way. But I have talked to people that have had bears climb up a tree. I guess they get curious. They see something up there, don't know what it is. They climb up there, and I don't think nobody I've talked to has actually ever had to use it. I don't know if they even have it, but they say most time the bear gets up there and sees you and kind of smells you a little bit, and you just kind of sit still. They say, just be still, and they say the bear kind of be like, oh, I don't like this guy, and just kind of go down out of the tree. Now, an aggressive bear, yeah, then you might need to spray them with it. And I've seen videos on YouTube and stuff where a bear comes charging at somebody, and they spray him down, and he's like, oh crap, and runs off. So I would say it would probably work. Like I said, I've never had to use it. I've never had experiences with bears, but just talking with the people that I know that have had experiences with them, most of the time the bear's more scared of you than you are of it. And if you don't engage it, and if you just keep calm and let the bear do its thing, most times if it sees you, it's going to run the other way. If it climbs up the tree with you and figures out that it's not what it thought it was, it's going to back down out of the tree. But it might be a good idea in case it gets up to the tree and gets pissed off at you.
I could see it like somewhere where there's grizzly bears. I probably would take that everywhere.
Yeah. And it would probably be, if you're out west or up north, Tennessee or somewhere where there's, a lot more bears than around here, there's probably, something that would be, vital to have in your pack.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, we've already talked about
We
this
have to worry
briefly.
about these a little more.
Yeah, exactly.
Bigger ones.
Yeah. He's saying he worries more about the gators than the bears, and I concur on that one. Anyway, so I've talked to him about this previously, but this is more so for the viewers. So we're here, the Escambia River. We're at Mystic Springs Recreation Area. It's a wildlife management area. Uh, Tell the people what type of fish you typically catch, or I know you kind of target certain fish, but can you tell the folks?
Well, throughout my life here, I've catfished, and we have bullhead, flathead, channel cat, and blue cat. Right off the top of my head, I don't think we have any white catfish here. But those are your 4 species that I can think of that I've actually caught. And we have spotted bass, largemouth bass, bluegill, shellcracker, red ear sunfish, um, and I call them red bellies, but they're either long ear, or I think they're long ear sunfish. Um, warmouth, crappie, and we have black and white crappie. Even though we're not supposedly supposed to have white crappie around here, we got them. Let's see what else. Spotted sunfish,
The hybrid bass come up this far?
like the stripers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've caught some. Just on a bycatch bass fishing. I've never caught a real big one up this way, about maybe a pound or two is the biggest one I've caught. Now down toward the bay down there, I've caught 4 and 5 pound stripers, and you'll actually have some actual stripers over other than the hybrids down there. And but I don't think I've actually caught a true striper. I've caught hybrids.
Okay.
And they used to release the hybrids up here. The FWC did, and I think a few years ago they actually quit doing that. But there's still some swimming around up
I've
here.
seen them doing that in Milton at the Russell Harbor Landing.
Yeah.
They come up there periodically. I don't know how often, but I've seen them probably less than a handful of times. Just happen to see the truck and they're releasing them, and they actually come from Holt, Florida. That's their little
their fishery.
their management area, their aquatic research center, I think is what it's called. So let's change pace here for a little bit. We probably could wrap this up here soon, but
and we have like the gars and stuff, alligators.
the alligator
spotted gar, Florida gar.
So this is related to the outdoors. I'm going to give him this, and he also has access to this knife if he wants to show us what he does with it, why we could use this, and what it is.
So this was something I was actually showing him today, and what we call lighter wood, and it's just an old piece of pine, and I've already cut some shavings off of it, and we use this kind of like kindling. Actually, that's what we use it for. And like, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's just little shavings that I've got off of it, and or you can take a hatchet and cut splinters off, and I don't really know all the scientific stuff about it, but it's just the sap inside of the wood kind of sits there over the years and hardens, and it makes a fuel. And that stuff right there, well, I mean, you put a match to it, it'll light up that quick. And it's free. You just gotta walk around the woods and find it. And so if you're ever in a situation where you may be lost or something, and you don't really have a lot of stuff to build a fire with, you find some of this, and you can get a pocket knife or something, cut some shavings off, or some splinters off of it, and you can get a fire started really quick.
That's
and these
pretty distinct smell, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, got a real good pine scent to it. And you get these shavings like this, and say if you don't have a match or anything, but you have like some flint or something, you can spark it up real quick. I would take some of this and crush it up into little smaller bits for that. But it starts up real well, or even if you just camping and you want to start a fire a little more primitive way, you can get you some of this and have fun with it. And especially the splinters, if you can knock off some good splinters with it, they burn for a while. So you have time to get them going and add some more wood to it. And that was actually another video I was going to do about getting the fire started. and
That's on my bucket list. I want to order one of those ferro rods,
yeah,
and I need to practice. I need to order it and then practice with it, just like Ted said with a weapon or anything. Kind of got to learn it. There's a YouTube channel. She goes by the name her nickname is LB, and she has a YouTube channel called Woman Outdoors, and she kicks dudes' butts when they have fire starter competition. She just nobody's even close to her in her category. She can start a fire like in a damn hurricane.
Yeah.
She can start. She's good, man. And if I could get like 25% as good as LB,
yeah.
it would be a good successful happening. So I think we're going to probably wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to say? I will repeat on Facebook. His group is called Southeast Heritage Outdoors. On YouTube, it's Florida Outdoors Sportsman. And remember, if you like this video, you want to learn more, or if you just want to communicate, hashtag Swamp Gang. So I appreciate your time.
And too, if they want to follow me personally on Facebook, I'm Florida Outdoor Sportsman is my personal page. If they want to follow me and see a little more content that I don't put on Southeast Heritage, and or because I put a lot of different stuff on my personal page that I don't put on there, and I'm gonna start promoting my YouTube on there, and maybe having some bloopers or something that don't make it on the YouTube, or just have some little extra content.
I tell you what, it's so funny because I get so mad because I have limited storage. So when I have a blooper, which I've had many, it could be probably be my most successful video if I knew how to edit all the bloopers, everything. But I get mad and I delete them. There's probably still a couple in my thing, and I get so mad. I'll say something wrong, or like matter of fact, here's a good example, real good example. I'm out there in the wilderness walking through, thinking, hog's going to get me, and I'm talking about the blaze markings on a tree, and clearly it's a vertical blaze marking, and I'm telling people it's a horizontal blaze. And then I watched the video and I'm like, you're an idiot, dude. You're an idiot. But then later I did identify it as vertical. But I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting some dementia like my mother as well. But I just sometimes I watch replays of my video. I'm like, I can't believe I said that. But,
well, you seen my blooper when I was walking out there fishing, though. I fell in the creek.
I may have. I don't recall offhand.
I just kind of I just took some of the mishaps I had and just made one video, and it was a video of me falling down a few times, or just I was sitting there fishing. I think I casted it, and when I casted, like I was standing on the edge of the bank right there, and it was kind of a little bit of a bluff. So some of the dirt fell out from under it. So when I cast it, I started to fall.
He pulled a Bill Dance on us. Have you ever seen Bill Dance bloopers?
Oh, yeah.
That's some good stuff, man. You can get you some popcorn because Bill Dance is a trip.
But I'm gonna try to capture and show the whole thing. It may not be in the video, but I may put some stuff together so you can see, hey, I ain't just out here doing everything right. I'm screwing up sometimes too.
Exactly. That's why, like, I will admit it. Like I'm not intellectually smart when it comes to electronics and editing and stuff like that. It's almost been my calling card that it is what it is. When I do a video, you know what I mean? So there is no editing, and a lot of times I like that. Sometimes I really get mad, especially when I'm crunched for time. Editing would make it easier, but I have fun, man. And people like you really make it enjoyable.
Appreciate it.
So I thank you, my friend, for doing this with us. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody if you're okay with that.
I'm good with it.
All right. Thanks, folks. Remember, hashtag Swamp Gang. And remember, let nature soothe your soul. Take care, folks. Have a good one. Talk to you next time. Let me see. Where do we go here? I think we do it this way. All right. There we go. We're ending.